Okay.
Oh, I'm starting. I forgot. I was waiting for you. Anyways, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for the third of a four-week virtual workshops. It's titled Taking Care of Yourself During COVID-19. My name is Deb Johnson, and I'm the Executive Director at St. Clair County Community Mental Health. For this series, we've teamed up with the Blue Water YMCA to offer some practical tips to help you take better care of yourself during this time. As I'm sure you all know, the current COVID situation has created a lot of fear and anxiety in many of us. Sometimes you might not even realize the toll that it's taken on your overall health. At CMH, we focus on the whole person. Good mental health and good physical health are both equally important to overall wellness. During these workshops, you will hear from experts in the field on how simple and easy exercises, nutrition changes, and yoga can help ease stress, reduce anxiety and depression, and improve your overall health. So find a comfortable place in your home or your office with some room to move around and join in some of the activities that will be demonstrated for you today. And I have one announcement. We have some additional trauma-informed yoga classes. They will also be virtual classes, 9 a.m. on Wednesdays, 5:30 p.m. on Thursdays. And you can contact us at St. Clair County Community Mental Health to sign up or to get more information. It's also on our Facebook and our website. So you should be able to find information to get in on that, on any of those ways. And that begins actually today, right? No, next week.
Next week.
Our yoga instructor is here for this session. Next week, it begins June 10th. So with that, I'd like to, again, thank Denise Brooks, the president and CEO of the Blue Water YMCA, for collaborating on this program with us. And now Denise will talk a little bit and introduce our presenters. Denise?
Oh, okay, thank you, Deb. A couple quick notes. We are recording this session for later post on the CMH Facebook or YouTube channel. So please be aware of that. And we assume that your participation is your acceptance of the fact that it's going to be recorded. As people log on, if they are not muted, I will be muting them for the duration of the actual presentations. And then at the end, there'll be a question and answer opportunity, and you can unmute yourselves and ask questions at that time. So now I will introduce today, Tom is going to be covering why stretching is vital to your health. After doing a bunch of driving today, stretching sounds really good. Noelle is going to be giving us an overview of foods that can boost our immune system, which is something that certainly we all want to be looking at right now. And Nancy is going to be taking us through some Vinyasa Flow exercise. So with that, I'm going to throw it over to Tom. And I would encourage you, depending on the device you're on, to move into speaker mode. So that rather than like the gallery mode or whatever, so that you can see the speaker and get the best view.
Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Deb. So today we're going to talk about, the benefits of stretching and what it can do for your health and fitness. But then again, before we start, just make sure you check with your doctor on everything, because I don't want anyone to get hurt. So like many times when I'm working at the Y, I see a lot of people come right into the Y, put their bags in a locker and jump right to lifting. They skip the warm up, or right when they're done lifting, they go right to that locker, grab their bags and take off, which for me as a trainer, I just cringe on it, because the benefits of stretching are just as important as cardio, strength training, nutrition. They all play a key role together. And without one of them, the other is going to suffer. So, there are many benefits to regular stretching. Not only can stretching help increase your flexibility, which is an important factor of fitness, but it can also improve your posture, reduce stress and body aches, and much, much more. So today kind of hits a little bit on with Nancy's too. They go good together with this. Some of the 9 benefits of stretching is, well, one, it increases your flexibility, which is crucial to your overall health. As Denise mentioned, she's been doing a lot of driving and sitting, so she's going to probably be really tight in her hips. Not having, proper flexibility is going to lead to, like I said, body aches, headaches. You're going to be slouching over more. It's really going to take a toll on the body. So it increases your flexibility. It increases your range of motion. With a full range of motion, it gives you more freedom of movement. It's going to improve your performance in physical activities. So your everyday work that you do, sitting at your desk all day, or as me being a personal trainer, I'm lifting and moving and demonstrating exercises. So being flexible is going to help me right there. Increases blood flow to your muscles. It's very, very important. I like to use the analogy of stretching as like a piece of licorice. Your body's a piece of licorice. Like not today, but in the wintertime, if you grabbed a piece of licorice out of the bag and it was the split with someone, you can stretch it. The elasticity will stretch, but then also it will break. Whereas a day like this, if you grab that piece of licorice out and you pull it to break, it's going to stretch, 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 and finally break. Well, the reason why it takes so long before it breaks is because it's warmed up. So with stretching, you want to make sure that you do some type of cardio work, whether it be walking, marching in place, just to get your body warmed up. It's going to improve your posture. How many people that you see have rounded shoulders when they're walking, or they're bending at the back, they're slouched over, or many different things like that. The necks are lean forward. All that has to do with flexibility and the posture of your back. It's going to help heal and prevent back pain. I know for me, having back pain throughout my years, because from playing sports, I have to stretch all the time. And I know that if I do a lot of sitting at my desk, I'm stretching, hourly to try to help loosen that back up. The next great thing is going to help for stress relief. How many times right now, especially in this pandemic, are we stressed out whether we're going to lose our jobs or where the next paycheck's going to come from? With stress, you don't eat right then. Everything is just a tumble effect on all of that. And it's going to help keep your mind calm. And that goes with Nancy's too, is, mindfulness, meditation, all this. When you have, and you're flexible, all that works so much better. And it helps reduce tension headaches for that. Another thing too, we don't drink enough water. And with drinking enough water, stretching is going to be easier, nutrition is easier, and yoga is easier. So right now, I know I talked to that really quick, but right now I want to get into some stretching and show you guys what to do for that. So the first things I like to do when I stretch out a client of any sort is when we're done with a session, we usually take 5 to 10 minutes to stretch out. If they're a little bit tight before a session, I will usually let them warm up, then stretch them out before they get into the exercise session, because we don't want to injure them. So I'm going to be doing these stretches with you. And so if you want to join me, that would be great. So the first one is going to be, I start at the calves and I work up to the neck. So the first one is a calf stretch. So 2 things you can do is you can put 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, keeping both your feet pointed forward. That back heel stays on the ground, front knee bends, and you just push slightly. So for all our stretches, you don't want to do extreme pain. You just want to do mild discomfort. If it's really painful, back off just a little bit. You're going to hold the stretches anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds on most of these. So I showed you that the calf stretch there. The next one's going to be a quad stretch, which would be grabbing an ankle or a foot, standing straight up. A lot of people, you'll see this. This, to me, is doing nothing. You want to stand straight up, kind of rotate your hips down, and you'll feel that stretch throughout the whole part of the thigh. Now, for people that can't grab that, I have basically, this is a yoga strap. For me, this is a little bit better quality one because I use it all the time with my clients. But you can grab these for $4 or $5 at Meijer, Walmart, so forth like that. And what you're going to do for that one is put your foot in it, pull the strap up and over, and you can go any height that way. That way, you can still do your quad stretch. The next stretch I like to do is the hamstring stretch. So basically, 1 foot forward, the other foot can be on a slight 45-degree angle for balance. You're keeping the knee just a soft lock. What I tell people is throw that chest out and bend right at the waist. And you're going to feel that stretch right through the hamstring here. One thing that you don't want to do is do this, because look how far I'm getting down. I'm not really feeling that stretch, but when I throw the shoulders back, right there, I'm feeling that stretch. And you notice what I'm not doing is I'm not bouncing. I'm just staying a nice, easy stretch and come back up. If that's too hard, another way that you could do that is sitting on the floor and grabbing your toes and stretching out that way, keeping that back straight. Next one I like to do is, like Nancy showed last week, is a pigeon. Two ways you can do it. One would be on the floor, keeping that knee tucked underneath, which you probably can't see in my knee. But the other one that Nancy showed, which I really like too, which I put my one leg up on here, sit up straight, and just bend slightly forward. You don't need much movement on this, and you're gonna feel this right in the hips. And every so often, I might just rest my hand on here, which adds a little bit more tension. Keeping that back nice and straight. Another one to stretch out your lower back. We'll be laying right on our backs. Foot up, bringing the hand on the knee, and pulling that slightly up to the chest. So let's go stretch out that lower back. And if you want to get a little bit more of that lower back, you can bring the opposite hand on opposite knee, roll it over, keep that shoulder down. You don't need to do a lot of torque, just slight pressure on here. As you get more flexible, you'll be able to bring that over a little bit more as you work through that. The next one I like to do is the back stretch. What I like to do on this one is I'm on my hands and knees. I go down to one elbow and I reach out. With the thumb up in the air, I'm really, really reaching. I'm feeling that stretch all through here. And of course, you would switch sides. Another alternative would be standing up against the wall and reaching up to the ceiling with your whole side next tight to the wall. The next one is a chest stretch. Two ways you can do this one. The first one is grabbing the wall and slightly rotating shoulder to the opposite shoulder, and you're going to feel that all through the chest, the bicep. Then you would switch sides. Another option is if you have a door frame that you can lean in front of the door frame, and that would open up the chest, single arm or double arm. The other one I like to do is a lot of times when you get tension headaches, you can sit in your chair, you can grab the opposite arm, pulling on here slightly and just bending that neck down, and that's going to stretch out all through the neck and shoulder. You don't need to go much on this. The neck has a lot of small muscles in there. And then you relax. And then the last one I like to do is just stretching out the shoulders, hand on the elbow, and just slightly pull towards the chest. Come back, and then you do the other side. So if you guys do these stretches about 15 to 30 seconds, if after one round you feel tight, repeat those stretches again. And I do my stuff, I try to get every other day. On days that I know I'm going to be, tight, I get extra stretching in. When my back goes out, or hips go out quite frequently, I do a lot of those stretches in between maybe watching a TV show. And by the next day, it's usually pretty much better. And I don't have to, a lot of times I eliminate a chiropractor for that, where I don't have to go to one, or go to a doctor to get meds to help reduce the inflammation. But again, if you guys are stretching on a daily basis, it's going to eliminate a lot of things for you. You're going to feel so much better. One story I like to share with one of the people I train, I told them that we were going to do stretching and foam rolling for the next 2 months, twice a week for an hour straight. And the person thought I was like off my rocker. And I told them what were we going to do. So we warmed up for 10 to 15 minutes and we stretched. And at the end of that 2 months, his flexibility, he was doing things that he couldn't believe he was doing. And watch his nutrition and just stretching and foam rolling, he lost 8 pounds in 2 months, which we didn't even lift one weight, one resistance band, nothing. And I just met up with him just last week, and that flexibility is still there for everybody. So guys, it's so crucial. And now, Noelle, take it away.
Thanks, Tom. I think I need to be stretching more. That was good. All right, so I'm going to talk about foods that we can have for best immune health. Before I start with the nutrition, I do want to well, I was going to say stress, that's kind of an oxymoron. So I wanted to talk about how stress and adequate sleep are also crucial for a well-functioning immune system. If you're not working on these two things along with your nutrition, following the nutrition advice is going to be kind of futile. You definitely need all three. So definitely working on stress, which Tom just gave you good stretches to do for that. Making sure we're getting enough sleep at night, which varies person to person, but generally about 8 hours of high quality sleep, meaning you're not waking up frequently throughout that. So if you're following those two things, different things we can do for our immune system. So let me start off by saying we don't have any foods or nutrients proven to boost the immune system. That's definitely a term that gets thrown around a lot by different supplements. So no current scientific evidence for that, but we definitely have a lot of evidence showing that a healthy diet is part of having a healthy body, and a healthy body usually has a healthy immune system. So the number one tip that we can do when we're thinking about nutrition is to eat enough calories and to get nutrient-dense meals. So we have a lot of studies demonstrating malnutrition, and specifically micronutrient malnutrition results in more frequent infections. So micronutrient malnutrition is a phrase meaning you're not getting enough vitamins and minerals in your diet, and that's usually because we're not eating enough fruits and vegetables. This commonly occurs in the elderly especially, and can be part of the reason that the elderly are more susceptible to infections. So overly restrictive diets that are taking our calories below what we need in a day, and then intermittent fasting, if we're going longer than 12 hours without eating, seems to be 12 hours is the time frame that we can still safely do it. Those two things can do more harm than good when it comes to immune health. All right, so there's definitely nutrients that we need to make sure we're getting enough of for a healthy immune system, even though we know we don't have specific nutrients that can boost it. So the first one I'm going to talk about is vitamin C. Probably no surprise there. That's usually the one that people associate with immunity. So vitamin C is an antioxidant and it destroys free radicals. It also potentially, not proven, but potentially increases the production of white blood cells. Scientists are starting to study this more, and they think that is why it's so crucial to our immune system. So I have a couple different foods. Bell peppers are the best source, and if you were watching last week, you know we want the colored varieties instead of green because it's higher in those nutrients like vitamin C. Tomatoes are a really good source. Citrus fruits obviously are a good source. They were out of clementines, and I don't like anything else because I don't like the seeds. So I didn't get any oranges when I was at the grocery store this week to show you. So you're noticing a theme there with the orange and the red and the yellow vegetables. Those are all definitely good sources of vitamin C. But what you might not know is our dark green veggies like broccoli and kale are also a really good source of vitamin C. So anything with that dark green hue, spinach, kiwi can be a really good source. Unless you were watching last week, then you know 1 cup of kale provides 100% of your vitamin C requirements from the day. So I want to briefly talk about supplementing. Definitely any of the nutrients that I'm talking about can be supplemented, but you want to talk with your doctor, especially if you have a lot of different diseases or if you're on a lot of medications, because supplements can definitely interact with those. So that being said, I know Emergency is a really popular vitamin C supplement. It has usually about 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. There's a lot of evidence that we can only absorb 500 milligrams of vitamin C at a time. So if you are using things like that, consider dividing it in half, having half the packet in the morning, half at night. That's typically what I do if I'm going to take it. Otherwise, you're just having really expensive urine because it's just going to go right through you. So save yourself some money and just use it more effectively. All right, next nutrient is vitamin D. So vitamin D is huge for the immune system. It reduces the production of pro-inflammatory compounds. I think we all know it can be hard to meet vitamin D requirements in Michigan and northern climates during the winter. That's because we don't have any sunlight whatsoever. So usually if we have 20 minutes of sunlight in the warmer months, we're good for our vitamin D requirements for the day. If not, you might need a supplement, but it does naturally occur in a few different foods, including egg yolks, fatty fish like salmon, tuna, and trout. I ate my salmon last night, so I can't show you that. And then a lot of dairy products are also enriched with vitamin D nowadays. So I'm gonna try to see. maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. But vitamin D will always be listed. You have to list vitamin D in packages. So my vitamin D for this is 25%, meaning if I drink a cup of this, which is the serving size, I'm gonna get 25% of my vitamin D requirements for the day. So if you're trying to get it more through food instead of supplementing, that's definitely something to look for. Different brands will have different amounts. Some will have none. All right, moving on to zinc. Zinc is huge. It's required to build and activate T lymphocytes. If anyone is in clinical staff and has ever worked in a nursing home or hospital, you know zinc and vitamin C are huge when we're trying to heal wounds. So zinc deficiency is shown to depress the immune system. And then especially if we are supplementing, we want to be careful with zinc because too much zinc will displace copper. So unless you're a vegan, it wouldn't be something I would recommend supplementing. It's found in a lot of different foods. It's found in oysters, beef, lobster, lots of different shellfish in varying amounts. It's also found in nuts, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, beans, and lentils. But any plant source also contains phytates, and phytates can inhibit absorption of zinc. That's why I say if you're vegan, it might be something that you need to consider supplementing because it can be harder to get through plant sources alone. Okay. Let me collect my prebiotics. So prebiotics and probiotics. Probiotics, I know it's a really catchy term. I'm sure we have all heard of them by now. Prebiotics are a little less known. So these are foods that are fuel for the good gut bacteria. So the good gut bacteria that we're trying to get more of like to eat these foods. And onions are a really good one. Oatmeal is a great one. Garlic is actually really good. Apples are really good. And really the key here is fiber. So good gut bacteria loves to eat fiber. So any foods high in fiber, like whole grains or fruits and vegetables, are definitely going to be a good thing to eat. So that's just the fuel for our good gut bacteria. Probiotics are products that will help increase the amount or the diversity of the good gut bacteria that we have. Adequate and diverse amounts are important because on a cellular level in our gut, they keep a tight barrier. Tight barrier is important because that means pathogens that are in our gut cannot leak out to other parts of our bodies. Our guts are well equipped to handle these pathogens, but other parts of our bodies are not. So if things are leaking out of our gut, we have a problem. And that's why we talk so much about probiotics. Besides a couple different things that they do, they're actually really, really important for our immune system. And this is very recent discoveries, like within the last 15 years. So we'll keep finding more and more of what they do to help our bodies. Let's see, what did I bring out here? I didn't bring out my yogurt. Yogurt is probably going to be your cheapest source, but it usually only has one strain. Kombucha can have a lot of different strains. A good kombucha company, which is fermented tea leaves for those who don't know, it's going to tell you on the label what strains it's including. The more strains, the better. We don't know too much about what specific strains are doing. We do know that there's good strains and bad strains of bacteria that we want in our gut. So overall, for now, until we can start isolating which strain is associated with which disease, you just want overall as much as possible for good diversity. So that's a good source. Talked about yogurt, kimchi. I have, so this is kind of the Korean version of sauerkraut. It doesn't tell you what strains of bacteria are in here, but any fermented food is going to have some beneficial strains. So this I like to add to a stir fry. Some people eat it cold out of the jar, but I do not like that, so I will not be doing that. Sauerkraut can be a lot cheaper in the stores, or you can also make it yourself pretty easy. So that can be another cheap source if you're looking for things that are better fitting the budget, because probiotics can be extremely expensive in the stores. Sourdough bread is actually a great probiotic if it's made the traditional way with a sourdough starter. So you can either buy that at the store, or again, you can try to make it yourself. I told myself throughout this whole pandemic that I was going to make my own sourdough starter and have it on my counter ready to go to make my own bread. And it's June and I still haven't. So maybe I will before this is all said and done, but I doubt it. And then the last probiotic I want to talk about is tempeh. I think I brought it up every single week. Tempeh is fermented soybeans, and it sounds gross, but it's delicious. And I really encourage everyone, especially if you're trying to eat more plant-based foods, to give it a try. Okay, antioxidants. Obviously, we talked about vitamin C's role as an antioxidant, but really all fruits and vegetables have antioxidants to some level. So I'm just gonna, I have like 20 different fruits and vegetables here. We're just gonna hold them all up because they're all important. I've talked about this every single week, but we need to make sure we are eating a wide variety of fruits and vegetables and incorporating every hue, so eating the rainbow. And that's because there's different antioxidants and different compounds that help all body systems, but especially the immune system, in those different colored shades. So we kind of talked last week about the difference between white cabbage versus red cabbage. Red cabbage, if you remember, had a lot more nutrients in it. So I will point out why all fruits and vegetables are important. The more vibrant the hue and the darker the hue, the more antioxidants and or nutrients that are in it. So definitely go for those vibrant and dark hues. Last, for nutrients to eat more of is my glass of water. Enough water is huge for the immune system. A lot of people overlook this. So you want to aim for half your body weight in ounces as an absolute minimum. So that means a 120-pound woman is going to consume about 60 ounces a day as a minimum. I try to aim for at least 100 ounces daily of just water alone. A lot of people, when I tell them that, look at me like I'm crazy and say they would be using the bathroom all day long. But that's the point, because every time you're urinating, you're flushing out toxins, and that's why water is so important. All right. I can go on about water forever, and I will next week because that's a whole presentation. I wanted to quickly go over a couple foods or nutrients to avoid that will harm your immune system. Number one is alcohol, and Denise pointed out my sign at the beginning of this. So if you see that and wondering what I'm talking about, I will say everything in moderation. So alcohol reduces the amount of cells that fight infection in our body. And overall, we still have pretty good research showing a J-shaped curve. That means that you can have a little bit and it's actually better for you than completely not having any at all. They don't know why. I would guess it goes back to that first thing that I mentioned about stress management, because it definitely can help with stress, but we want to keep a moderate amount and we want to make sure we're consuming safely. So that means typically 1 drink per day for both men and women. And you cannot not drink throughout the whole week and save that all for the weekend. It doesn't work out like that. They're not like tickets. So 1 drink per day and you'll be fine for immune health. All right, the next nutrients to avoid: concentrated sugar, refined carbohydrates, and just processed foods in general. That's because these foods cause dysbiosis. Now, dysbiosis is the term we use when we don't have enough healthy gut bacteria or we don't have diverse amounts of healthy gut bacteria, or it can be a combo of both. So dysbiosis is that term, and that's when we have leaky gut, another phrase that we've already talked about. That's when pathogens that are supposed to be in our gut leak out because we don't have that tight cell barrier anymore, because we don't have good gut bacteria. So that is why we want to avoid those foods on top of all the other health concerns with them. And then the last thing that can really harm our immune system is smoking. Smoking lowers concentrations of necessary micronutrients like vitamin C. So obviously, if we're lowering our micronutrients that help fight infections, we're definitely going to see more infections. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And that is all I have today, not as long as last time, so I'm going to pass it on to you, Nance.
Awesome. I have a timer, so I know what I'm doing today. So Noelle, when this is over and the Y's open, I will leave you a sourdough bread starter at the Y at the counter, so you don't have to make your own.
Thank you.
Yeah, I make all my own bread, and I have been doing that. I don't want to even say this because it makes me feel really old compared to everybody else on the screen, but for the last 40 years. So,
oh my.
Yeah, I make all my own bread.
Awesome.
So we're sitting in our chairs. We're going to begin a little Vinyasa flow, but we always start yoga. You can sit on the ground, sit in a chair. We always start yoga with intention. So why are you practicing yoga? And the word yoga means yoke or unity. So you're trying to do what Tom's talking about, and what Noelle's talking about, and stress management, which is CMH. So you want to take care of your body, your heart, and your spirit at the same time. So we're going to sit in our chairs, sitting as straight as you can, like Tom was saying. Open your chest, shoulders back and down, hands either in your lap or you can cross them together, and take a deep breath to the bottom of your gut. Through your mouth is fine, through your nose is fine. Since COVID-19 started, I have become very happy to promote breathing. It's so essential. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, or in through the nose, and out through the nose. One more. And what is your intention? Are you here for yourself? Are you here for someone else? Are you here to be healthy? Are you here to just have fun? Hopefully all of those things. And I'm going to move to the back of my room. And we're going to do a little Vinyasa Flow. There's no way you're going to see all parts of my head and my feet and it's just my room is really small. So when I'm talking Vinyasa Flow, I'm saying moving from one posture to the next posture. There is no competition in yoga and you can't do it wrong. So like Tom was saying, when you stretch, you don't want to stretch into pain. And I call it stretching into awkwardness. So you stretch into where it feels sort of awkward and then you come back. So you don't ever stretch into something that feels like muscle or bone pain. You don't want to have that. So we're going to stand as straight as we can, take our hands with our palms right by our sides. Inhale your arms up as high as you can over your shoulders, looking between your hands. Exhale, wide arms, and then come down as far as your body will let you come, and then drop your head. Inhale, touch the front of your shins, look right straight at the ground in front of you. And then exhale, come down again. Inhale all the way up. Take your left hand and grab your right wrist, and then you're going to tip to one side. When you get to your base, this is as far as your body will go. Turn your hips slightly toward me, and then inhale up. Switch so your right hand's holding your left hand, and then come over. Tip as far as you can. Slightly bring your hip out, all the way up. Exhale, wide arms, forward fold, drop your head. And this time we're going to take opposing elbows. You grab both the elbows, you bend over as far as your body will let you go, drop your head, and some people really like to rotate on this. It's called ragdoll. So like Tom was saying, the important things of this posture is it gets the blood down to your head. All your muscles in the back of your body are getting stretched. And if you really concentrate, you can feel your lats or your side muscles kind of working with you. Inhale, touch your shins, stretch your shoulders back, stretch your neck out like Tom and I are mirroring each other. This keeps you out of the chiropractic office. Look straight down and then bend your knees slightly, come all the way up. We're going to take our right foot, bring it forward, and this time I'm going to change my screen just a little bit so you can see what my legs are doing. And we're going to sink into that knee. So what you're trying to do is keep your knee over your ankle. So it's not in front of the ankle and it's not behind the ankle, it's right above it. The back foot you can put wherever it's comfortable. A lot of people are purists and they're going to say it's a 45-degree angle. Some people's hips and knees don't do that. You always respect your body in the pose. So you have the pose to fit your body, not your body to fit the pose. We're going to sink into our knees and then bring our hands up parallel to each other, out of the shoulders, just like we did in the beginning. And the gaze is right between the hands. Inhale deeply. Exhale, stretch your hands out. Let's see if I can get that part in the picture. Stretch your hands out as far as you can, reaching out of the shoulder blades. Try and keep them parallel. So if you want to check if they're parallel or not, bring your thumbs together, because that's parallel, and then slowly move your arm to the back. This is called Warrior Two. Flip your front palm, reach forward to the degree you can, and then slide backwards, stretching the whole side body. Feels so good. I hope Denise is doing this after she's been in the car all day. Exhale, Warrior Two, and then we're going to bend the front arm, rest it gently on the thigh, and take the other hand up to the air, looking at the thumb. If that's awkward or uncomfortable, you can rest it right on your hip. The idea is to roll your shoulder back. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale. Inhale, warrior one, looking up between the hands. And because this is a super short class, we're just going to switch and do the other side. So, sinking into the knee, remembering not to extend over the foot. Inhale up for warrior one. This is a posture of strength. We all need extra strength right now during COVID-19. Life is changing. People are changing. Exhale to warrior two, a posture of courage. We all need courage right now. It's especially true for those of us who have family members that are sick that we can't visit. Flip the front palm, reach forward as far as you possibly can, and then come backward. And this is called reverse warrior. And it reminds us that sometimes life goes backwards. Inhale, just for a quick reset here in warrior two. Front palm, arm comes down, back hand comes up, extended angle posture. Sort of a twisty thing, because life sometimes gets a little confusing. Warrior two, warrior one. This time, exhale your arms wide, reach down to the floor, and have both feet meet each other. I know you can't see me. There we go. Both feet meet each other, hips up to the ceiling, head dropping down. And then we're going to walk our hands up to our knees. Exhale one more time, coming all the way down. Inhale as high up as you can. Hands to heart center, which means that I'm bringing my hands right to the middle of my chest. I'm going to drop my chin down to my chest, and then roll my neck all the way around, taking time any place it needs to. Coming back to center, roll the other direction. Coming back to center, checking in, making sure everything feels good. We're going to reach our hands out in front of ourselves and then twist to one side, keeping your hips forward. Come to center, other side. Come to center, reach up, look up, extend your shoulders out of those tight, arms out of those tight shoulders, slight tip back, exhale, wide arm, forward fold, all the way to the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, take a deep breath here. And if you can, come down to a seated posture, come on down. And we're gonna sit on the mat, cross-legged. We used to call it kindergarten posture, but I don't know if they call it that anymore. Hands on the knees. We're gonna roll our shoulders up to the ear, roll it all the way back, push it down. Other shoulder up to the ear, all the way back, push it down. Right hand to left knee, left hand comes behind, gentle stretch. Always remembering to respect the spine. One more breath here. Exhale completely. Take a big breath in as you switch sides. Gentle stretch. Reach forward as far as you possibly can and let your hands come down to the floor. Head comes down to the floor, and keep reaching until your body says, yep, that's it. That's as far as I can go. Slowly take your time, coming all the way up. Take your hands behind, grasp them behind your back, sitting as straight as you can. You want to exhale, come over your knees. When you're at your base, this is as far as your body will go. And you bring the arms up to the degree they can. Remembering there's no competition, and we don't push into pain. Inhale up, nice straight back, come back to center. Exhale completely, hands are on the knees. This time we're going to switch and put the palms open. So part of doing yoga is paying attention to our things that are going on in your head. So in your right hand, I want you to put all the things that you're super grateful for. So these are things, these are possessions, stuff. And in your left hand, put the people that you can't live without, that you need them every moment of your life. They're so important to you. And know that you, as you bring your hands to your heart center, are much more than the things and the people in your life. You are whole, you are complete, you are wonderful. And today we know that we are strong, we are healthy, and we're moving forward through COVID-19 into the next phase. Michigan's going to open up. We're going to go back to work. There's going to be more food. Things are getting better. Exhale completely. One more deep breath. Push out all the oxygen. One more deep breath. Exhale completely. Hands to the knees. Roll your shoulders all the way back. Sit as straight as you can. And think of one thing you're super grateful for. And on that note, I will tell you that I am super grateful for sharing this class with you guys. I hope to see you live either at CMH or the Y when this is all over, so we can reflect back on what a great time we had with both Tom and Noelle. It's time for questions, right?
Yes. If anyone has them.
Going to the view of everybody. And I see everybody, but I don't see any questions again. Do you think that we need to unmute people? I don't know if I can.
I think only Denise can do that. And I know in the
Yeah.
past, we've had people type in questions
Okay.
for any three of us. So if anyone has questions, please type away.
No questions.
And people should be able to unmute themselves.
Oh,
Pretty
thanks.
much everybody had muted themselves today, so they should be able to unmute as well.
Okay.
All right.
Well, everybody must have done an awesome job of their presentations
I
today.
guess so.
So thank you. You all shared wonderful information, and we'll look forward to next week. More info next week.
Thank
Same
you.
time, same
Okay,
place.
thanks.
Thank you,
Thank
Have a great
everybody.
day,
you.
guys.